Welcome to the Criminal Department, where we delve into the lives of some of the world's most notorious and dangerous criminals. Today, we uncover the story of Ronald Joseph Dominique. Known as the Bayou Strangler, his story is a haunting reminder of the darkness that can hide behind a seemingly ordinary facade. Ronald Joseph Dominique was born on January 9, 1964, in Thibodaux, Louisiana, a small town located in the heart of the state's Bayou region. Growing up, Dominique's life was far from remarkable. He was raised in a modest home, attending local schools and living what seemed to be an ordinary life. However, beneath this veneer of normalcy, early signs of trouble began to show. Dominique struggled with his identity from a young age. Reports suggest that he was often bullied and ostracized due to his shy demeanor and his suspected homosexuality. These early experiences of rejection and isolation likely planted the seeds of the deep-seated anger and resentment that would later manifest in horrific ways. Throughout his adult life, Dominique struggled to find his place in the world. He worked a series of low-paying, menial jobs, and his financial situation was often precarious. He lived in a trailer, moving frequently between different parishes in Louisiana, and had little social life to speak of. Despite his attempts to fit in, Dominique continued to face rejection and loneliness, which only deepened his sense of alienation. By the late 1990s, Dominique's frustration and anger had reached a boiling point. It was around this time that he began to act on his dark impulses. He started to prey on some of the most vulnerable members of society, young men, often homeless, drug addicts, or those living on the fringes. His victims were individuals who wouldn't be missed, making it easier for Dominique to commit his crimes without drawing immediate attention. Dominique's reign of terror began in earnest in 1997, when the first of his victims was found. Over the next 9 years, he would go on to kill at least 23 men, making him one of the most prolific serial killers in Louisiana's history. His modus operandi was both cruel and cunning. Dominique would lure his victims with the promise of money, drugs, or a place to stay. Once he had them alone, he would overpower them, often binding and gagging them before raping and strangling them to death. Dominique's familiarity with the Bayou region allowed him to dispose of the bodies in remote, swampy areas where they would be less likely to be found. The vast, isolated stretches of the Louisiana Bayou became his dumping ground, hiding the evidence of his crimes, and allowing him to evade detection for years. As time went on, Dominique's methods became more refined, and his attacks more frequent. He perfected his technique of luring and killing, becoming more brazen with each crime. His victims ranged in age from teenagers to middle-aged men, but they all shared a common vulnerability that made them easy prey. Dominique's ability to blend in with his surroundings and appear non-threatening was one of his most dangerous traits. To his neighbors and acquaintances, he was just a quiet, unassuming man. No one suspected that behind his benign exterior lurked a ruthless killer who was systematically hunting down men for his own sadistic pleasure. For years, the murders went unsolved, with local law enforcement struggling to find any solid leads. The scattered locations of the bodies, along with the lack of clear connections between the victims, made it difficult to piece together the pattern of a serial killer at work. However, as the body count continued to rise, it became evident that these deaths were not random. In 2006, a breakthrough came when DNA evidence collected from one of the crime scenes was matched to Ronald Dominique. This match linked him directly to the murders, and law enforcement began to close in on him. On December 1, 2006, Dominique was arrested at a homeless shelter in Houma, Louisiana. His capture marked the end of a killing spree that had terrorized the Bayou region for nearly a decade. Following his arrest, Dominique confessed to the murders. His confessions were chilling, providing graphic details of how he selected, lured, and killed his victims. Dominique expressed little remorse for his actions, coldly describing how he enjoyed the control and power he felt during the attacks. In court, Ronald Dominique faced multiple charges of first-degree murder. He chose to avoid the death penalty by pleading guilty to the killings. In September 2008, he was sentenced to 8 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, effectively ensuring he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. Dominique's case has intrigued criminologists and psychologists who have sought to understand the motivations behind his crimes. Experts believe that his violent behavior was fueled by a combination of deep-seated anger, sexual frustration, and a desire for control. His troubled childhood, marked by rejection and bullying, likely contributed to his development into a predator. Despite his horrific acts, Dominique's demeanor in court and in interviews was often calm and detached, indicating a lack of empathy and a chilling disregard for human life. His ability to live a double life, appearing as an unremarkable, quiet man to those around him while secretly harboring murderous intent, showcases the complexity and danger of his psychological makeup. The revelation of Ronald Dominique's crimes sent shockwaves through the communities of Louisiana. The families of his victims were left devastated, grappling with the loss of their loved ones and the horrifying nature of their deaths. Many struggled to understand how Dominique was able to continue his killing spree for so long without being caught. The case also raised questions about the challenges of policing rural and isolated areas, where limited resources and vast, difficult terrain can hinder law enforcement efforts. Dominique's use of the bayou's isolation to conceal his crimes highlighted the vulnerabilities in these communities. The story of Ronald Joseph Dominique serves as a haunting reminder of the evil that can exist behind a mask of normalcy. His case has become a study in the complexities of human behavior, the factors that contribute to the making of a serial killer, and the importance of vigilance in recognizing the signs of danger. Dominique's capture and conviction brought some measure of justice to his victims and their families, but the scars of his crimes remain. His actions have left a lasting impact on the communities he terrorized, serving as a reminder that vigilance and awareness are key in the fight against those who seek to harm others. As we conclude this episode of the Criminal Department, we reflect on the chilling legacy of Ronald Joseph Dominique, a man whose heinous acts of violence forever changed the lives of his victims and their families. His story is one of tragedy, cruelty, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Join us again as we continue to explore the dark and twisted world of crime, bringing you stories that reveal the depths of human depravity. Remember to like, subscribe, and stay vigilant, because sometimes evil is closer than you think. The case of Ronald Joseph Dominique raises many questions about human nature, the influence of early life experiences, and the complexities of identifying warning signs in seemingly ordinary individuals. What drove Dominique to commit such heinous acts? Was it his troubled childhood, his feelings of isolation and rejection, or perhaps something deeper within his psyche that led him down this dark path? As we look back on his story, we must ask ourselves, how can society better protect its most vulnerable members? Dominique targeted those who were often overlooked, people living on the margins of society, with few connections or support systems. What measures can communities take to prevent similar tragedies from happening again? We encourage our viewers to share their thoughts and reflections on this case. What actions do you think could have been taken to prevent Ronald Dominique's crimes sooner? How can communities and law enforcement work together to identify and apprehend predators before they commit multiple crimes? Your insights and opinions are valuable in understanding and addressing the root causes of such horrific behavior. Let's continue the conversation in the comments below. Discuss what you believe are the critical warning signs to watch for in individuals who may pose a danger to society. Share your thoughts on the role of mental health support, community vigilance, and the importance of reporting suspicious behavior. Remember, these stories are not just about understanding past crimes. They are about learning and finding ways to create safer environments for everyone. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest true crime documentaries. Together, we can make a difference.